sheriff puts Don Lemon in his place during Don's show. You got to check it out.
Their message is peace and coming together in the country. What's your message?
You don't believe that for 1 minute, do you?
That their message is?
Yeah.
That's what they said to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe them. Of course
Any
I believe them
protests
when they say
over the
that.
deaths of these cops today in Baton Rouge?
I don't know that. I don't know that.
Any riots or protests over the police officers in Dallas, Texas?
What are you asking?
It's a pretty simple question.
I asked you if what's your message to the people. Their message is one of peace. What is your message?
My message has been clear from day one 2 years ago. This anti-cop sentiment from this hateful ideology called Black Lives Matter has fueled this rage against the American police officer. I predicted this 2 years ago. So what I want to know,
sure? Okay, Sheriff.
do I want to know?
With all due respect, do you know that this was because of that? Do we
Yes,
know
I
that
do.
As a law enforcement officer?
I've been watching this for 2 years. I predicted this. This anti-police rhetoric sweeping the country has turned out some hateful things inside of people that are now playing themselves out on the American police officer. I want to know, with all of the black-on-black violence in the United States of America, by the way, when the tragedies happened in Louisiana and Minnesota, you know that 21 black people were murdered across the United States? Was there any reporting on that?
There was a black officer who was killed today. But let's.
Was there any reporting on that?
Sheriff, please, let's just keep the volume down here. So I understand, and listen,
I'm looking at 3 dead cops this week,
Sheriff,
and I'm looking at 5 last year. You trying to tell me to keep it down?
Just please, if you will just please, we can keep it civil. So, because the message to people at home, I'm sure you want, is one of civility.
I wish, Don, I wish you had that message of civility
to have a conversation
toward this
with you.
hateful ideology, these purveyors of
You don't
hate.
know what my message is.
That's
what I
what
want
they
to say
do.
to you is,
these
if you'll
people
let me
preach
are you going to let me get a word
and
in?
virtue
We'll be right
in the
back.
name
We're
of
going to go to break,
hate.
and we'll be right back.
Good for this sheriff. I just love this sheriff. He stood his ground and did not wean into Don Lemon's agenda and talking points for the time that Don put aside for the sheriff's interview with him. Don wanted to start out with, the sheriff's reaction on the people's message that they want peace. And the sheriff's like, what are you talking about? There is no peace. He goes, was there any reporting on the cops' deaths in Baton Rouge? Was there any reporting on the riots and protests that took place against cops in Texas? Like, there's never reporting on that. And he's right. And especially when he said that you never ever see reporting in the liberal media about black on black crime and black on black murders. You never ever see that because it does not fit their agenda. So the sheriff is getting, a little passionate about what he's saying and frustrated that Don Lemon is like, tells him to take his tone down. I mean, the sheriff's talking about police officers' deaths. He's talking about the how many murders, how many black people were murdered, and Don tells him to take his tone down. I mean, the sheriff's like, "Are you kidding me?" And Don is like, "All right, it's just embarrassing that the liberal media is so focused when they have people come in to interview, especially conservatives, that they are so adamant about staying to their talking points. They don't allow any flexibility for where the conversation goes. Why wouldn't you, right? That's what helps increase viewership, right? It's just ridiculous. Don was, he decided just to shut the interview down because the sheriff wasn't playing along. And good for the sheriff that he didn't buy into Don's little play game there.